Welcome back to another episode of The Faithful Fanatic. I am your host, Snap, joined by my other host, Dylan, and my other host, George. And we are back for another week of sports talk, and today we're talking more birds. Yes, we're back talking birds, and we are going to break down their schedule, finally. It's been out for a couple weeks now. We know what we're dealing with, so I want everyone to give our takes on where we see the birds going this year, how good they're going to be, why they're going to win certain games, why they're going to lose certain games, and we'll finish up with possible playoff positions. So let's get to it. Dylan, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I've been excited to talk.
What's your total prediction for the season?
My win record?
Yeah.
I have them at 11-5 roughly. I can see anywhere from 10-6 to like 12-4 area. I'm higher on the Eagles than most. Obviously, we'll get into like why I'm high on them this season, but I love what people can discredit Howie during the draft and what he does on draft weekend, but you can't take away anything he does in acquiring players and in free agent market and acquiring team needs. So I'm really high on what the Eagles have done this all season. Like I said, 10-6, 11-5, 12-4, and I think it wins the division.
Well, CBS Sports has put them currently at 9.5 wins on the season. That puts them even with the Buccaneers, Cowboys, and Seahawks. And compared to the rest of the NFC East, it has them tied with Dallas at 9.5. And then you got New York coming at 6.5 and Washington at 5.5. So it's kind of the numbers are going up for the NFC East. How do you think the NFC East is going to affect the overall win record, George? And what's your total prediction for them this year?
Well, like if they go 5-1 like they can, then I really think they can win 10, 11 games. I feel like it's so easy once the schedule comes out to see 10 wins, but this team definitely has it. 10 wins, 11 wins. I've seen a lot of 9 wins. Definitely don't believe that's going to happen. Also bet the over on 9.5, of course. Had to do that.
I know you love your betting.
Of course. But, yeah, I roughly 10 wins, I'd say. We'll get into the games, but that's where I'm at.
All right, and, yeah, I have the Eagles at a very high 12-4. I think the beginning of this schedule looks very easy. I'm not saying the schedule is easy. I think the schedule actually gets really difficult right after the bye week, which is, I believe, week 9. After week 9, the schedule really does pick up. And if they can just maintain through that and use the bye week smart, I think we're going to see a very, very good Eagles team with a very good record. But let's jump into week by week. Let's start with week 1 at Washington, just like last year. Who you got, Dylan?
I got them as a W pretty easily there. Same as the Super Bowl year starting in Washington. Listen, the Washington Redskins brought in Ron Rivera as their new head coach, which to me is a huge upgrade for them. But I am not a believer in Dwayne Haskins. I know he didn't play that much last year, but I'm more of a believer in Daniel Jones in the division than I am in Dwayne Haskins. I believe they brought in Kyle Allen, right, from Carolina to go along with Ron Rivera. He's nothing special either if Dwayne Haskins isn't ready yet. Their defense is getting older. They probably still have one that some people I saw on NFL Network, like Steve Mariucci and them, were doing a breakdown of the NFC East, and they had the Redskins as the number 1 defense in our division. They're getting older, and Washington's, to me, is the worst team in the division. So it's an easy win week 1 for the Birds.
All right.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard not to chalk up a W on that one. Ron Rivera, obviously a huge upgrade, but quarterback position, nothing. Dwayne Haskins, I just have no hope in. They're not going to be able to really keep up with us at all, I don't think. It should be an easy W. I mean, it's in Washington, so depending on the fans, I guess. But I got a dub. I mean, until they beat us, until I see them beat us, I'm going to always say W.
Did you see the tweet I quoted on Twitter today?
I did. That was so dumb.
I hate that app, dude, sometimes.
Yeah. It's been since like 2016 that they beat us? Yeah, come on. You can't even not say W on week 1.
Easy. Snap, what do you think?
Yeah, for week 1, I think this is very easy win for us. I understand the Redskins have gotten better on the defensive end. They've added some very good players, and they had a great head coach in Ron Rivera. But I just don't think they're there yet. I really don't. Like you guys are saying, until I see it, I can't believe it. I can see Haskins maybe developing into a decent starting quarterback, but as of right now, he has not shown me anything, especially with the injuries and not really even starting. I get it. They don't have an O-line and they don't really have like extremely good weapons, but if you don't have good weapons and you don't have solid quarterback play against the Eagles defense, you're not going to last very long, especially with the new reamped defense that we put together this offseason. It's gonna be a bumpy game for them. And I get it. They scared us last season with that crazy game. But
21-0, whatever it was.
Yeah, and we came back and still won. But regardless, I think this is a dub. I think you start off the season fresh, and you get a first road win, which is big. So let's jump into week 2. Rams at Philadelphia. So I want to get your opinion on this. Are the Rams the team from 2 years ago?
No.
Do they scare you like they did 2 years ago?
No. Another dub to me for the Eagles. Look, they lost Todd Gurley. I know he was plagued with injuries, especially knee injuries, and he's still young. But to me, if he's healthy, he's one of the top running backs in the league. He stays in the NFC and goes to the Atlanta Falcons. The Rams, to me, honestly, from their Super Bowl run, I think that was the max they were reaching in their potential that year. And I think that's just what Jared Goff is. I mean, they scored 3 points in the Super Bowl against New England. I think Jared Goff is a mediocre quarterback that got paid like a big-time quarterback. They lost their star running back. Brandon Cooks is gone, and their defense is getting weaker. So their head coach may seem like a genius, a young offensive stud, but overall they put up 3 points in the Super Bowl. We saw what they were last year, and I think they've lost more than they've gained this year, honestly. And that NFC West division now, Arizona's got a lot better. Kyler Murray looks like the real deal. They brought in DeAndre Hopkins. They've gotten a lot better. You know what Seattle's going to be with Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. They're going to be a consistent playoff team every year. And San Fran could be another Super Bowl contender. So I'm being serious when I say the Rams are the third, if not worst, team in the division.
What's your take, George?
Completely agree. They are the third or worst best team in that division. Team from 2 years ago, no way. It's just you know what they are. They can't really block well either. It's going to be hard for them to keep up with their line. It's I see this as W, especially in Philadelphia. And Jared Goff, mediocre quarterback, they got paid like a star, 100%. You've kind of just seen that. Sean McVay, I mean he's an outstanding head coach, but I don't think he's good enough to
great mind
bring that team to the playoffs. Great mind. You can't bring that team to the playoffs. I just don't see it. W in Philadelphia, 2-0.
Nap.
I really don't have to say anything. You guys kind of nailed it on the head. The team was kind of falling apart last year with the departure. Not even the departure, but the regression of Todd Gurley. I consider him the main reason that team went to the Super Bowl. The team, yes, was good, and Sean McVay is a great coach, but you basically have a guy like Joe Flacco in the quarterback position and Jared Goff. He's not a stud. He got paid like a stud. We all know this. And they were 4-4 on the road last year, and they definitely have regressed as a team in general, as I can see on paper. Sean McVay, though, great coach. You never know, but as of right now, I think they're the worst team in their division. I think they're going to have a terrible road record and a terrible home record. Then they're going to be top of the draft next year, honestly. I think we could see these guys in a very bad position.
Nothing
Nothing
they've done really made sense going back to last year. Like, you had Marcus Peters and you made the trade for Jalen Ramsey, and then you traded away Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
Instead of pairing them up. You had to keep Talib, but we've seen he's been riddled with injuries lately. So he's basically
paid Jalen a fuck ton of money. So now you're in a hole with the guy that wants to win, who's proven he's a cancer in the locker room when you are not doing good. Prove that in the Jaguars locker room. Maybe a change of scenery in a major market will keep him a little more happy. But I could just see them being terrible, and then you just having locker room issues, especially with a guy like him. And that being said, I'm a huge Jalen Ramsey fan, and I completely understand. He's the best, in my opinion, he's the best corner in football, and it kind of seems like he's gotten the shitty end of the stick the last couple of years in his career.
Yeah, I have them going like 6-10, 7-9 this year. Not a high ceiling.
Not a high ceiling at all. But all right, guys, let's move on to week 3. And I actually am very, very excited for this game. It's Bengals at Philadelphia. And we finally get a look at the first overall pick, Joe Burrows. What do you guys think? How do you think he's going to do? What's the outcome of this game? Start with Dylan.
I have it as a third straight dub for the Birds, which is one of my key parts of the schedule. I think the schedule gets really difficult after this point, and going 3-0 is very important to me. I'm excited to see how he plays, and if his game translates to the next level. I think it does. But I think what the Eagles have done on defense in the offseason is extremely important to me and extremely underrated. No one's talking about what they've done. One, you're getting healthier, which has been my main concern. So even if you go back to 2017, they had injuries all across the board in their Super Bowl season. The following year they were injured, and last year they had us three playing wide receiver and our parents in the secondary. Like they and Wentz still took them to the postseason. But you get Malik Jackson back, who went down week 1, who I was excited for them to bring in last year. You bring in Javon Hargrave and make him one of the highest, if not the highest, interior paid defensive lineman in the league to pair with Fletcher Cox. You get healthier. You go out and you get big play Slay and Darius Slay and extend him for 3 years, who's going to be locking down the one side of the field. You re-sign Rodney McLeod. You bring in Will Parks. You move Jalen Mills to his initial position at safety, and you bring in Nickel Roby-Coleman to play in the slot. The Eagles, to me, have done everything correct defensively throughout free agency and the draft to step up and play guys like Joe Burrow and these explosive quarterbacks that they're going to be playing all year, especially with a wide receiver like A.J. Green, especially with an explosive running back like Joe Mixon. I think that the D-line gets after Joe Burrow that day, and the Birds go 3-0.
George, how are you feeling about the game?
Yeah, I really do love our D-line. And even with Joe Burrow, that team just isn't ready to win or compete. I mean, in the future, of course, Joe Burrow, hell of a quarterback, most likely a franchise guy. But right now, all around him, we should just tear him up. We should be all over him. The line's just not going to – it's not going to keep up with us. It really isn't. The Bengals aren't ready for that. It should be an easy W. Like, you're in Philly. The Bengals really aren't good. It doesn't matter about Joe Burrow. All around the team just isn't that great. Should be W. Should be undefeated.
They're another basement team to me.
They are. I mean, they really are.
Snap.
I have them going the same way as you guys are. I think this is either going to go 2 ways. The majority of me that's screaming and telling me how it's going to go is this is going to be Jordan Burroughs' like welcome to the league moment where he plays an actual defensive line on an elite standard with a great secondary. And I think this is going to be the worst game of his new season. I think he's going to throw a lot of picks in this game. But a part of me also feels the Philadelphia narrative also in the back of my mind. And I could just see him lighting this up somehow. But I know that's probably not going to happen. But part of me just feels like it's going to happen. But, yeah, it's a dub for me. He's a young, talented quarterback, but I think this is where he gets a taste of the league. The team's not deep enough to win, and the defense is just something he's never experienced in his career. And as a rookie going against this defensive line, he's going to have a lot of pressure on him to make plays for such a young quarterback. I don't care how talented and smart you are. If you're on that Bengals roster as the quarterback going against this defensive line, you're going to have a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah. With a weak offensive line also.
Very weak offensive line.
Weak.
We should tear him up. We should be all over him.
All right, let's dive into week 4. And it is probably the biggest matchup in the early season, and it is the Super Bowl runner-ups, San Francisco, Eagles at San Francisco. What you got? Go ahead, Dylan.
This is where the win streak comes to an end. Partially, not that I don't think the Eagles can beat San Fran, especially on the road. It's going to be a very difficult game. I can see them winning the game. It's just one of the games, like, you can't have them going 16-0. And the way I looked at it, they have a back-to-back at San Fran and then at Pittsburgh the following week. And I think that I don't see them going 2-0 there. So it kind of – that played a big factor into them taking a loss for me here, only simply because I don't see them going 2-0, and I think they have a better chance to win in Pittsburgh than they do out on the Bay. So I have the Birds losing their first game in San Fran.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I was looking at that too because you're at San Fran, you're at Pittsburgh, and then you're at home against the Ravens.
Yeah.
And that those two back-to-back road games are so tough. I don't see them winning in San Fran at all. So maybe in Pittsburgh, but going into San Fran is gonna be so tough, especially undefeated. It's like
It's going
it
to be
is
a measuring
pressure.
stick.
What's up?
It's going to be a measuring stick because that's why I
100%.
think that going 3-0 is very important. Like you said, then you have Baltimore, and then I know there's a run of like the Saints, Packers, and Seattle later in the year.
Yep.
It's going to be very difficult, but it's definitely a measuring stick. Like the Super Bowl year, when they started out, was it week 4 or 5? They were either 3-0 or 4-0, and on a short week they had to go to Carolina on Thursday night, and
Yep.
Carson goes in and gets the win. I think this is what this game can be. Like, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, we'll see what happens, but as of now, I got an L. But you never know. I mean, shit.
There's not a single game on this schedule that I can confidently say the Eagles are going to lose. That's
Yeah.
how confident I am in that
Yeah.
in this team. But like I said, you can't pick them to go 16-0, 15-1, even like 13-3. So you
No.
got to mark their losses out somewhere.
Ken. No, I'm just kidding.
You can, but
I actually have the opposite with the back-to-back road games. I have them winning in San Francisco. A lot of times people forget when a team loses in the Super Bowl, they regress immensely. I get it. The San Francisco 49ers are pretty much the same team. And they went to the Super Bowl last year and had a dominant season, especially on the road. I think they were 7-1 last year on the road. But a lot of these teams, after going to the Super Bowl and losing, they
well, the
drop
Rams. We
off.
talked about the Rams earlier.
Yeah, we look at the Rams. We look at the Carolina Panthers. Look at the 49ers of the past. A lot of these teams drop down, and it's basically a pick 'em to me. It really is. At the end of the day, it would be a pick 'em. Both of these teams are extremely talented. They have both Eagles have the advantage at quarterback, but when it comes to offensive weapons, they all have like the same offensive weapons. They have good defenses. They have good head coaching. So it really is a pick 'em, but I don't know what it is about this game. I think just that lack of success last year, it always does a number on the team. And I know that's a weird way to put it for a team like that, but I feel like the Eagles have been trying to bust back into being that elite
Dominant
team. And if they're healthy going into this game, I think they're the better team.
Well, I can see it too. Like I said, I can't confidently say they're going to win or lose this game. But to your point, Doug kind of has a knack for doing that. Like I feel like he kind of because Doug being the offensive mind and guru that he is, when people were hyping up Sean McVay, even our Super Bowl year, and then the following year when the Rams went, Doug hasn't lost to Sean McVay yet.
Nah.
Even with a beaten up team, he lost Carson on the ACL game. The following year, when the Eagles were basically out of it, that the Rams game on what was that Sunday night basically jump started our comeback to making the playoffs that
They
year.
haven't missed the playoffs since the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's
And
something a lot of teams don't do. Like
I think
making the playoffs 3 years straight is not an easy thing to do in the NFL. And I think a lot of people sleep on that whole idea. Like this team is coming off a bad loss in the Super Bowl. They lost the Super Bowl. And I don't know what it is about it. I don't have the numbers. But if you statistically look at the numbers, the chance of making just the playoffs as a Super Bowl loser, it's very difficult. And for whatever reason, maybe it's because coaching staff gets picked off, maybe because a player leaves. But this is generally the same team, so I expect them to be good. But I just think this is the Eagles' year where they're just going to go in here and they're going to prove they're elite.
And I think he takes it kind of seriously, or he's going to take it kind of seriously against Shanahan. He's that younger head coach. He's offensive-minded. He's an offensive guru. But then when we've seen it in the Super Bowl, him with the Falcons as their OC, what he did against New England, blowing the lead. Last year in the Super Bowl, he blows a 10-point lead with 6 or 7 minutes left against Kansas City. Sean McVay only put up 3 points in the Super Bowl. It's something about these young coaches, and I just think Doug ups his game, especially on the road. We saw what he did in Green Bay last year against LaFleur, winning that game on the road. He goes into Buffalo. I think a healthy Carson and a motivated Doug, they find a way to go out on the road and do it sometimes. So it's definitely going to be a tough game, but I have it chalked as a loss, but I could definitely see it being a win.
Starting the season 4-0, winning in San
That's
Francisco.
what I have them start. 12-4 is not easy.
No,
and
not at all.
they get there through the beginning of the season as long as they don't have a shaky start like they had the last couple of years. But let's dive into week 5. Eagles at Pittsburgh, Battle of PA. We see this very rarely. They've played 5 times since 2000. Who you got, Dylan?
Birds, because like I said, this is kind of just going off the week previous. I think that they don't go 2-0 here, I had to throw a loss somewhere, and I think they're more capable of beating Pittsburgh on the road than they are beating San Fran on the road. So I have this as a win.
All right.
And I'm curious to see of what we get back from Big Ben Roethlisberger, because we basically did we see him? I'm drawing a blank, but did we even see him last year?
I think it was a game.
Yeah, it was barely.
Yeah.
He
I
missed-
feel like we haven't seen Ben Roethlisberger in a long time, and
He did shave the beard, which is big, very big. Very
and,
good player with it.
and
Very
we'll
good
see
player
what they
without
have.
beard.
We'll see what they're made of offensively. We'll see with a young running back in James Conner, and with the young number 1 wide receiver in Juju Smith-Schuster.
I still am not sold on Juju as the number 1.
Neither
that's
am
why,
Not either.
that's why I have this as a win. You kind of saw it last year with Juju. Like, he didn't really prove he was a real number 1 receiver. And now you got Slay on Juju. I kind of love that. He can't, especially when Juju's double team, his production it significantly drops. So, like, I have this as a W, but Eagles are 2-5 in their last 7 games at Pittsburgh. That doesn't really – I mean, I really don't like
Again,
this.
it's not going to be an easy game, but
No, it's not going to be an easy game at all, but I think they can easily win it. Or I think they
That's-
can win it. Not easily, but they can get it done, definitely.
Going on what you just said, George, they're 2-5. I have this as a loss. Like you guys were saying, 2 wins on the road to start 6-0 or 5-0, very unlikely. And here's a cool little stat for you: they've played 5 times since 2000, and the record's 3-2. The Eagles have won 3 out of 5, and it's been back and forth every time they play. Eagles win, Steelers win. Eagles win, Steelers win. Eagles win. So if I'm a betting man going off that trend, and CBS Sports actually has them ranked at winning 9 games, so I'm taking this just from a betting standpoint. I could see this being a very tough game, one of them games that's just a tough road game. I think they blow this. I think it's a back-to-back road game going all the way to the West Coast, battling it out with San Francisco, and in my opinion, they win. So that's going to be a tough game. And then having to come back and play in Pittsburgh, that's no easy regardless of the roster, that is not an easy thing to do. Pittsburgh's fans and that Pittsburgh stadium is very loud. It gets in people's heads. I have the Eagles losing this, and I mean, like I said, I'm just going off betting on this one. 3-2 in the last 5, and the Steelers lost the last one. It's been back and forth. I couldn't think of a better reason than not to take the Steelers serious.
Man, I'm excited to get into some betting segments once we can.
Oh yeah, when the sports come back, we will be talking betting.
Bill, we'll talk later because I might bet Korean baseball tonight. So
Love to hear it.
I'll think you're inside later.
All right, let's jump into Week 6, and I think this is the game I'm most excited for this season.
Yeah.
Next to the Bengals, because I want to see Joe Burrows because I love seeing great quarterbacks, but I want to see the guy. I actually ordered his jersey not too long ago. It's the Ravens at Philadelphia. Lamar Jackson.
MVP.
MVP is in the house, and he fucking deserved it last year. And I want to know, how do you think he deals with playing in the Link? Because honestly, personally, I don't think he's dealt with an atmosphere like this yet. And maybe that's just me being an Eagles fan, but it's just a different environment. Every quarterback just says how different it is to play in the Link. Do you think this gets into Jack Lamar's head?
Well, let's see. First, we have to see if we have fans in the stadiums. I think we're going to, but
That's the thing, yeah.
to be determined. We just talked about San Fran regressing, coming off a Super Bowl loss possibly. This team, to me, the Ravens are going to be a number 1, number 2, number 3 option to win the Super Bowl this year, but going by off of betting odds. And the Eagles do not – I know we just talked about all the upgrades they made defensively. Hopefully that changes my opinion on what I'm about to say. But the Eagles, historically, since I've been around, do not play well against mobile quarterbacks, especially not one like Lamar Jackson, who's something we haven't seen since like Michael Vick in Atlanta. So I think Lamar gets around, gets out of the pocket, and makes plays kind of just going off script a little bit. And I think that kills the Eagles, especially late in the game. Like I said, the new defense, hopefully that changes things around. But it's just one of those things where there's so many tough teams on this schedule. I had to put the losses somewhere. And I hate saying that they're going to lose at home because I know how good they are at the Link. But mobile quarterback, and I do not think that Baltimore regresses, especially after losing to Tennessee last year early in the playoffs. I think Lamar's pissed off. I think they're pissed off, and I think that they're going to be right back in the Super Bowl hunt this year.
George?
Yeah, I think it's like, and it's not even just like having Lamar Jackson. That team all around is just really good.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough, especially stopping Lamar. He just, even if he doesn't have anyone to throw to, he'll find a gap. He'll find somewhere to go. So it's definitely going to be hard to contain him, but that's what you're going to have to do. You can't stop him. You have to try to contain him. So we'll see. I have this marked up as an L too. I do hate saying that. It is at the link, but I think the Ravens are just too tough right now. Yeah, I'm going with an L on that one.
I'm the opposite, guys. I have this marked up as a W. And
12
here's
4.
why. My biggest thing about Lamar Jackson that I need to see before we even come up to this game, as of right now, I'm going off what I think is going to happen next season. I think we're going to see an actual regression from Lamar Jackson. And this is why. No one had film on this new offense. Just like Chip Kelly when he came in with that high-paced, fast offense back in his first season as the Eagles head coach, no one had film on that. The next year, it was completely exploited. And I think it was kind of the same story for the Ravens. Yes, the Ravens are a great team. They have a great defense. They have a good offense. But it's great when Lamar plays. But I feel like a lot of coaches, they had a whole offseason just to break down Lamar film, what he does good, what he does bad. And like you said, we're talking about how good this Eagles D-line is and the improvements to secondary. If he can't make passes down the field on this improved secondary and he has to run, the Eagles might have the best D-line in football. He's not going to run like he has in the past. Yes, he's an amazing runner, and especially with the new rules protecting the quarterback, it makes him hard to go down. But I just think there's just so much film on the guy. And we kind of saw it. They went down in the first round, or what was it, the second or first round last year in the playoffs. They were supposed to be the definite, I thought for sure, they were supposed to be the Super Bowl champs. I didn't think there was a team in the league besides the Kansas City Chiefs that could defeat them. And guess what? They didn't even make it that far. So I'm actually going the opposite. I think this is one of the games Lamar has a hissy fit. I don't think he's going to run all over the Eagles like we think. I know in the past we have had problems with mobile quarterbacks. Russell Wilson or one, we'll get to him later on. But this is a guy who's kind of young. He's third year in the league, right? Third year in the league. And I think they might have him figured out. I think that is going to be something that happens next year. You're going to see a lot of teams improve how they contain him. So I'm chalking this up as a W.
Like the optimism.
I hope so.
Yeah, I do too. I'll be at that game. I'll be at that game for sure. I don't care how much.
I think I'll at least tailgate, but I want to go in.
I might have to pull like one of the Eagles over a Lamar jersey, and if they actually do lose, like, no, just kidding.
The biggest thing about this, like the schedule and everything, is if there is no fans, are they going to play with like crowd noise? Are they going to do like alternative crowd noise or anything?
Hell, it'll probably still be fucking loud outside the link if we're being honest.
Right. You're right.
We're not going to break up them tailgates. People will just fucking tailgate on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
They'll have sirens at least.
We will at least.
But, okay, let's get to – I keep losing track of it. Week 7?
Giants.
7. Giants at Philadelphia. What you got, Dylan?
I have this as a start of a huge win streak for the Eagles. The Giants, like Billy said earlier, if the Eagles can go 5-1 in the division, which I think is another key component to their success this year, you have to go to me at minimum of 5-1. You have to sweep the Giants, sweep the Redskins, and you have to at least split with Dallas. I think that's what's going to happen. So especially at home at the link, Daniel Jones, like I said, I think he's better than Dwayne Haskins is with the Redskins, but I'm still not sold on Daniel Jones. I love Saquon Barkley. I do like what they've done defensively, but to me, they've done that. Like, I feel like they've brought in better players than the Redskins and the Cowboys have this year, but the Redskins and the Cowboys have made way greater improvements in their coaching staffs compared to the New York Giants hiring Joe Judge and Jason Garrett. Like, what? Asinine. So I think the Giants are going to be stuck, even though they have literally a shit ton of talent across the board, offensively and defensively. I think the Giants are going to be like a 6-10 ball club, and you have to split. I mean, you have to sweep the New York Giants this year.
Have to. George?
Yeah, I'm with you. You have to sweep them, and I think we've won like the past 7 meetings. So just like the Redskins, until they
Yeah.
beat us, you can't really expect an L or feel an L. It's just I have this as a W. And you're right. Even with Saquon, they do have talent. They really do. Coaching staff doesn't scare me at all.
No.
It's really the team all around doesn't scare me. I have them winning like 5 games, I think. So yeah, I have this marked up as a W. I think we sweep Washington, New York, but I think most people do. So that's an easy one.
I don't even gotta say anything. You guys said it all. It's a W against the Giants, and it's at home, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Birds are lethal.
Let's move on. Fuck it. Let's move on to week 8. Cowboys at Philadelphia, and I think this year these are going to be battles. I think we left a really sour taste in Dallas's mouth last year. Whatever you think of Dak Prescott, whatever you think about the team from your negative standpoint as an Eagles fan, I think these are going to be some good fucking games next year if these teams are healthy against one another. So let's start off, Dylan. Cowboys at Philadelphia. Who you got?
I have it marked up as a W. Like I said, long win streak coming off for me. I think they split with Dallas this year, so I have them taking the home game at the Link, losing in Dallas later in the season. I really don't have more of an explanation. I think we're the better team than Dallas. I think we could beat Dallas twice. We may beat Dallas twice like we did in our Super Bowl year. Well, no. We lost in week 17.
Yeah, week 17. That was a shit.
Yeah.
That was a giveaway, though.
I
Players.
just think it's because we split. I'm taking the Birds at home. And I also want to have a full episode at some point about Dak Prescott and who the hell he thinks he is as a quarterback, that he wants $40 million.
Yeah.
$40 million. That to me is insane. And I don't know. That's why I think we could definitely beat Dallas twice because Dak's he's not it, man. Like we've seen what he is against mediocre defenses and mediocre teams. But I think last year – now I'm missing the stat off the top of my head, but against top 10 defenses or teams with winning records, I forget what his win-loss record is bad and his touchdown-to-pick ratio is even worse. Yeah. So, and we saw he couldn't get it done. And what he had, the AC joint sprain in week 16 last year against the Eagles in the Link. He put up 9 points. I don't know. I'm just not as sold on Dak Prescott, and I'm not sold on the Dallas Cowboys, and I think it's a win for the Eagles.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you on the big win streak coming up after the Giants game. I think we win. We're definitely at least split. I think we win the home game, no doubt. But you're right. Dak Prescott, definitely not sold on him. He's a fucking idiot for – if that is actually confirmed, what was it, 5 years, 180 mil or whatever.
It would make him the highest paid player in league history, the highest paid quarterback.
If he actually turned that down, he's insane. Because now he's on another – this is like another – all right, prove it. Like you're on another prove it year. Why not just sign him?
I hope they do with Dak the same thing that Washington did with Kirk Cousins.
Oh my!
And that's the way it's trending. They're just franchising, and
until someone pays them.
Well,
I don't think Jerry looks at him as like, not that he's not their guy. I think he's definitely their guy, but I don't think Jerry looks at him as like what Carson did last year with no name receivers. Like Jerry's trying to bring his money down to have more money to spend to put around him, a.k.a. Zeke, a.k.a. Amari Cooper, a.k.a. Gallup, a.k.a. now that you're going to have to pay CeeDee Lamb in a few years. Like, on defensive side of the ball, they've been putting out money. So I think Jerry looks at him as their guy, but not the guy.
If he thinks he was the guy, he would be signed already, like months ago. Like, if he thought he was the guy, the deal would have been done. So the fact that the deal's not done by now, it kind of shows, and it really speaks volume about Jerry Jones, about how he feels. Yeah. Well, I have a W on this game, though. I do. I think you're right. I think we can sweep them. I don't think we will, though. I think we do take the L.
It's always going to be tough.
Yeah, I think
the whole division is going to be tough, to be honest. Like, the Giants games are going to be tough. It's just
one of the games are Thursday game, right? Giants, or is it Redskins? It's one of them. I think it's
Giants. It's the Giants.
Oh, it's Giants? Okay, yeah, and those are always weird, but we'll see.
Snap.
Same as you guys. I got this as a W. I don't think this will be an easy game. I think we're going to honestly split the series this year with Dallas. Out of everyone in the division, I don't think anyone else chalks up a dub against us besides the Cowboys. But don't sleep on this game, man. There's a reason they have this. Like, I understand we beat them last year, but they did load up on some firepower. This is going to be a hard offense to stop, especially I'm blanking on the name of the new head coach.
McCarthy.
Especially with McCarthy in there, I think he's going to get creative. And like you said, this is another Dak prove it year. Like, you got to go out there and prove it. Can you prove it? You have every fucking weapon you need to prove it. Well, and Zeke has traditionally gave us issues. So even that being said, I will say this is still a W because I think the defense will hold and the home field advantage will play a big role in these division games. So week 8 going Eagles over Cowboys.
And that's another thing. Not that I want to keep talking about Dak Prescott, but he's an idiot for not taking their offer because, like you just said, this is another prove it year. And Jerry has literally put, especially going out and drafting CeeDee Lamb now, Jerry has put every single piece around him. He's gone out and brought a new head coach since everyone pointed the finger at Jason Garrett for their mediocrity down there in Dallas. If Dak, he denied this contract, if he doesn't go out and absolutely ball this year, if he doesn't win the division, if he doesn't even make a playoff, if he wins the division at 10-6 or 11-5 or whatever, and takes a first round exit, he is screwed. He is an idiot for not taking their offer, which he be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
Whatever, I'm done talking about the Cowboys.
All right, jumping into week 9, we have the bye, which is absolutely perfect. Middle of the season, you couldn't ask for a better bye week. Yeah. Coming off a division game, 2 division games, and you're starting back up with a weak division game following in week 10 with the New York Giants. A weak division game to us, we don't consider this a good adversary in the future. So how do you guys feel about coming off the bye? Where do you think the team will be? And what do we got as records going into the bye week?
I have 2 losses. So I have what?
I have them at 7-1 going into the bye week, which is right where you want to be as a Super Bowl contender.
I have them at 6-2.
I have them at 6-2.
So we all have them at very high records, and they're coming in against the Giants off a bye. So, Dylan, let's hear it, because what we're saying right now, the Eagles are going to look like Super Bowl contenders going into this bye.
Again, like I said, I think they sweep the Giants, so this is another win for me. I think it's big because Doug historically has been good coming off the bye in his term in Philadelphia, and like you said, especially you're going on the road, and to have a team like the Giants coming off the bye on the road, I think it's big, and I think it's just a nice startup coming back off the bye. So I think it's an easy W.
George?
Yeah, fully rested. I mean, being fully rested coming off a bye, right? I mean, going into New York obviously isn't like fun, but it's not bad. Giants aren't like a strong team. Plus we're 20-4 in our last 24 meetings against them. So, I mean, they don't really scare me. I have a W. Not really much.
Especially because at this point in the season, what's this, week 10? I expect the Giants to be already out of contention. So when they're out of contention, young quarterback, bad coaching staff, young all-around roster, I think their morale is just going to be overall low. I think you kind of saw that last year. They stuck in the game late last – what was that, week 17? Yeah. Stuck in the game for a while, and then it was game over.
Yeah, we don't really have to get into this. It's just the –
yeah.
But the one thing I will say is they need to go into this game ready.
Yeah.
They're going into this game 6-2, 7-1, whatever you guys have them at. They need to go in this with a killer mindset still because this is a division game. You never know what's going to go on with a division game. We've seen the shitty-ass Dolphins beat the Patriots at home. You know, we've seen this time and time again. The only thing they need to make sure is they come off that bye not lackadaisical, not tooting their own horn, not over
talking about the game like we're talking
jealous in who their opponent is. Because if they come in off this bye like lazy, they will lose this game in my opinion. But I have them as a dub because I don't think they're that team, and they've traditionally been good off the bye, even in the going past Doug Peterson era. I know it's not the same team, but it's just what the Eagles do. It's what we're accustomed to. They're good off the bye. So let's jump into week 11. Week 11, Eagles at Cleveland. This is going to be a fun game. This is going to be a fun game. A lot of people have a lot of different opinions on this, especially after the shitty season the Cleveland Browns had last year. So, Dylan, start us off. What you got?
So this is a 4th straight win for me. I think the Eagles win this game. because I think you're going to see what you saw in 2017, in my opinion, as long as 11 stays healthy. I think the Eagles are going to beat the teams that they should beat. Again, it's going to be very difficult. The Cleveland Browns are honestly stacked offensively. They brought in Austin Hooper. They still have David Njoku. You're getting Kareem Hunt back off of suspension. You have Odell Beckham Jr. You have Jarvis Landry. Absolutely stacked. Now, the question is, do you believe in Baker Mayfield to push the needle further? I haven't seen it yet. I'm not saying that he can't. It's honestly very hard for him not to be successful with what's around him, and he is a talented quarterback. He just hasn't shown anything to me. So unless leading up to this week when we're breaking it down at coming in a few months from now, unless I see something different from the Cleveland Browns, this is a win for me. And I think the Eagles defense, like I said, high-powered offense. I think the Eagles did everything correct in the offseason on the defensive side of the football to kind of match that, and then 11's going to win the game for you.
Yeah, good ending. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, Baker Mayfield really has no more excuses anymore. I believe in him. I think he's going to be a good quarterback, but everything around him is set. Hooper, Njoku at tight end, that's pretty fire. And then you have OBJ, Landry, and then Kareem Hunt, you said, coming back to play consistently.
And Nick Chubb. I left out Nick Chubb.
Chubb too. Yeah, they have a really good offense. So
and Hooper.
Yeah.
Hooper.
It's going to be a tough game, but I do have a W too. I think our defense stops him, at least slows him down. Last year, he kind of he had weapons. He didn't show a lot. Browns didn't show a lot, but I think they're a good team. I think they win 9 games. I don't think they win at the Link. It's no, they're in Cleveland. I think it's W for the Eagles though.
Dog pound. Snap.
Dog pound could come out up top, but I got the Eagles winning again, and this would be their 5th in a row, or no, 6th in a row for me, I think. Yeah, 5th in a row. But like you guys have said, I believe in Baker. I really do. I think he showed us in his first season that he can win. I just think the coach they had last year was a complete jitbag in Freddie Kitchens. So that being said, I think as long as everything goes right for them, this will be a tough game. I just think our defense is too much, and I don't think they have enough on the defensive end of the ball. Yeah. It's a lot of egos, a lot of personalities, but this offense is just so potent, and it's on the road. It will be a tough win, but I think it's a very easy win because it's the Browns, man. It's the Browns. I just don't get worried about that name. They have Odell, they have Landry, they have Chubbs, they have Baker, they have Hooper. I just could give 2 shits who they have at this point because they're the Cleveland Browns. So I got them as a dub, 5 straight for me. 2 wins off the bye. It's looking good for the Eagles. So let's jump into Week 12, and this starts a very, very rough stretch of games. The next 5 games over the course of the schedule are extremely tough, and a lot of them are on the road. And the first one is I fucking hate playing this team. It's the Seahawks in Philadelphia. Who do you guys got?
So for the game that I'm not allowed to go to because I went to both Seattle games last year and they lost both games 17-9. So I'm banned from going to Seattle.
Yeah, don't fucking show up.
Yeah. But I have it as a 5th straight win for the Eagles. And if you didn't already believe in them at 8-2, where I'm at, I have them at 8-2 going into this week, now 9-2. Their 5th straight win. And I think this is kind of, if you didn't believe in them yet, this is kind of where it gets, to me, they push themselves over the edge in people's minds because they've struggled against Seattle in recent years. They even lost to them in our Super Bowl winning year. They struggle against Russell Wilson. And I just think they get over that hump this year. I think they're too talented of a team to lose to Seattle. Not that Seattle isn't great. They're going to be a playoff team, in my opinion. Great head coach, great quarterback. That's a formula to get you at least in the mix. Outside of that, they don't scream. They don't have a high-powered offense. They only dropped 17 points both games last year against an Eagles defense that was nothing like what it's going to look like this year. And you're getting Wentz healthy with weapons. And their defense doesn't scare me. They don't have They might not have Clowney if they don't re-sign him. I don't think they're going to. So I think they get over that Russell Wilson Seattle Seahawks hump, and I think the Birds get to 9-2 and really start to shake things up.
Yeah, they have a deep running back core now because they just signed Hyde. So you got Hyde, Carson Penny, but obviously really good offense. you don't really. I mean, it's Russell Wilson, so
They
no
have a
matter.
good offense. They just don't have anything that screams
Oh
like
yeah.
Lockett,
Hey,
Metcalf, like
See,
who
you
else?
got to remember, or Metcalf could make another leap in this
yeah,
year. But
definitely.
continue, George.
Yeah, definitely. But like, I just feel like we're due for a win. We're finally due for a win. We're at the link. Things are shaping up. This is going to be the win that it's like, okay, this team is for real. And it sounds kind of homerish, but I guess we're 9-2 now, or 10, and we'll see what Snap does. But yeah, I have a W.
You could say it's homerish, but when you think that they're going to
The
be as
L's are
good as
coming.
we do, like their Super Bowl year, what were they? 10-2,
Yeah.
or what? They
Yeah.
were the same record as they are now, and I think I'm not. I guess you can call me a homer, but I think they're right back in contention this year.
Oh yeah, I do too. I think some L's are coming up, but a good record at the
Yeah.
end.
This starts a 2-game losing streak for me.
Okay.
I don't know what it is about Russell Wilson. I don't care that they're at the link or not. We've seen them, 2 years ago, in a fucking battle between him and Carson. Carson was throwing dimes to Nelson Aguilar on the sidelines, running out of the pocket. It did not matter. It does not matter. I think Russell Wilson is the fucking Eagle killer. I hate playing him. I fucking hate playing him. I don't care if it's this year we finally beat them. I just don't know what it is. It literally just comes down to fucking Russell Wilson. I don't care who they lose. It just he's just so fucking good. And like I know, like I'm gonna say this, going back to one of the points we had when we were talking to the Ravens. Yes, we do struggle with mobile cornerbacks, and the reason I think we don't struggle with a Lamar compared to a Russell is because Lamar is a second-year starter. Russell knows this team. He's played this team quite a bit in the last couple of years, and he is a savvy vet. And I think he's the most underrated quarterback in the league by far. Okay. The dude is a beast. He gets shit done. They have the weapons. They've improved their running core. Their defense is going to be the reason they do lose this game if they lose it. But as of right now, I have this as an Eagles loss. Russell Wilson, the Eagle killer. Mark it in the books. Let's jump into the next week. What are we at now? 13.
Yep.
Eagles at Green Bay. 2 years in a row. This is tough. This is fucking tough. What do you got, Dylan?
I have it as a loss. I actually have them coming out with back-to-back losses and losing 3 games from here on out, which is this is why the schedule's so tricky for me to pick out, because I have them at what now? Over 10-2 or 11-2 or whatever at this point. And I had them, or not 11-2, but great teams don't lose three games at the end of the year like this. But I think they lose to Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers, still Aaron Rodgers. They went out there and beat Aaron Rodgers on Thursday night last year in Lambeau. It's hard for me to imagine them doing that again this year. Again, I guess it's a different team, so you never know. It's just one of those games where you look on the schedule and they could win it, but I have to throw some L's around out there somewhere, and this is just one of those games to me. And Rodgers is going to have them in playoff contention still at this point. So
he's still Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Definitely a lot of tough matchups, but I mean, end all be all, you go into Green Bay another year and winning it just seems unlikely, I guess. Like winning 2 in a row, 2 years in a row, like you're going to have Zadarius Smith on like Dillard probably. That's going to be tough. We'll see what happens, but I have an L too. Green Bay is just so hard to play at, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be motivated this year after that draft pick. You know that. So.
Oh, my God. I'm so scared about that. Yeah,
I lean you look at it and you lean L. You're like you could win. It's a winnable game, but you lean a loss on this one.
Right, and this is going to be what? Late November, if not early December?
Yeah, they could be injury riddled at this point. That's another reason I have losing these 2 games back to back. Losing in Seattle and then going to Green Bay, or losing at home to Seattle and then going to Green Bay. I think they come off a tough loss against a really motivated Seattle team, possibly banged up. I mean, a very motivated Green Bay team, possibly banged up. And Aaron Rodgers he's a petty motherfucker, dude. We know this from his personal life. We know this from his football career. Especially with that pick they had this year, I know he remembers that ass whooping back in Green Bay last year, because that was a tight game, and that must have hurt to lose the way they did. So I have Aaron Rodgers coming in and just kind of like, especially on a team like the Eagles, who at this point would be proven
Yeah.
like on the season and a Super Bowl contender. This is a type of game where you just even if Aaron Rodgers is playing like crap all year, this is a type of game where you just see Aaron Rodgers come out and just show out. Like,
This-
I'm still Aaron Rodgers. Remember who the fuck you're dealing with type of
This
vibe.
to me has Seattle our Super Bowl year. Like, because the Seattle lost our Super Bowl year. I think we were 10-1 at that point or something, like right around that area. Late in the season, on the road, tough environment, great quarterback, and I just think as good as the Eagles might be at this point, they definitely could win the game, but I just think it's one of their losses.
Yeah, I believe it's a winnable game. Don't get me wrong. But I think they still have a lot of good weapons. They have Adams still there. They have the running back, and I'm blanking on the name.
Aaron Jones.
Yeah, Aaron Jones. I just think it's just it's going to be an Aaron Rodgers game, dude. I can just tell. I can just tell.
Why am I blanking? They went out and got another wide receiver to go along with Devontae Adams. Who am I blanking on?
Green Bay.
Is it? No, it's not.
Dude from Carolina?
Oh,
Calvin
they
Benjamin?
did. Who is
Funches?
that?
Funches?
Yeah, Devin Funches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's like number 2 to put Aaron
And
Rodgers.
don't get me wrong, Aaron Rodgers has declined last year. He had a decline. That defense really helped him out last year, especially with the improvement on the run game. They desperately needed that last year. But it's just like at this point of the season where I have the Eagles how good they are, and after whooping them at home and now having a second chance to defend yourself, I just see it being an Aaron Rodgers game.
Mhm.
Anyway, moving on. We're flying back to Philadelphia for this one. Saints at Philadelphia. Besides Seattle, no. This is the team I think I hate this team more than Dallas at this point. In recent years, I hate this team more than Dallas. They talk the most shit to us, and it's up in the air between them and the Seahawks. I hate playing the most. So, Dylan, start us off. Who you got? Saints, Eagles. Let's hear it.
I sadly have this one as a loss marked up. Again, another winnable game. You're at home. It's only the second home game that I have them losing this year, along with the Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I think the Saints are just one of those really, really good regular season teams. And I think you're going to see the same story this year. A lot of people are picking them to come out of the NFC and go to the Super Bowl finally. I don't see it happening, but I think, once again, they're going to be like a 13-3 team. Drew Brees kind of kills us. Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, they're stacked. Again, it's a very winnable game. I could definitely see the Eagles winning it, but I can't just go out there and say that they're going to win every game. It's a very difficult game. So I have it as a loss.
George.
Yeah, this one's so tough for me because I really don't see them losing 4 in a row, but I really do see them losing in Dallas and in Arizona. So, like, it's such a tough – like, I was looking at the schedule and I was like, wow, that's such a tough stretch. But I feel like I do think they're going to beat the Saints. I think they beat the Saints, lose against the Cardinals. But it's going to be a shootout no matter what. You're going to see a great game, Wentz versus Brees. You're right, Brees always does show out against us, but I don't know. We'll see. I have a W right now, but that offense is so scary.
It's so winnable, but it's also –
it's just scary.
Fucking number,
so good, and I feel like it feels like the game. It's like Malcolm Jenkins just has like 2 picks, and we just like
right. I'm thinking the same thing, dude.
Yeah, it's like
a revenge game where he just fucking owns us, and it's like, well, here we go, losing to the Saints again.
So I really don't know. Like, it's really is a toss-up for me, but I'm gonna say W right now.
Every fiber in my body kind of wants to pick the Saints here, but in my gut, the Eagles are 1-4 against the Saints since 2012. 1-4, and just in my gut, for some fucking reason, it's at home. That taste of that playoff series is still fucking fresh in my mouth. If they don't come out and beat the Saints and on my schedule, remember, they're 2 losses in a row. They lost to the Seahawks and they lost to Green Bay, and they're back home after getting probably embarrassed by Green Bay on the road and then Seattle at home. You need to just come out and win this fucking game. It's the Saints. They talk all like Alvin Kamara talking all that shit the year after we won the Super Bowl, saying we would have whooped them, and then they actually whooped the shit out of us.
Yeah.
I need them. This is more of like I just need them to win this game. I need them. I believe they can do it. They just need to come out and whoop their fucking ass. I need fucking 5 sacks on fucking Drew Brees. I need Alvin Kamara to get blindside hit. I want Michael Thomas. I want Darius Slay to make Michael Thomas life living hell and him picked off all night. Like I just need them to really just show the Saints why the fuck they haven't won a Super Bowl and we have in the last couple of years. I had a lot of built-up aggression talking about them.
That's another thing we haven't talked about with
that fucking team.
With having Slay is, especially in the division, putting Slay against Cooper. Cooper sucks against Darius Slay. Just all across the board. That's why, like, it's another reason why I'm just so high on them, which we'll get to, like, after we run through the schedule. Like,
we got to see if he'll be good on the Eagles, though.
He's gone. He's not going to be
Don't
not
say
beat.
that. Don't even say that. You can't say that.
I'm saying.
Everyone said the same thing about
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who the fuck I'm talking about. There's been like 5 fucking corners like that in the history of the Eagles. Let's not get into it. Moving on. Eagles at Arizona against the young Murray. Who you guys got?
This is one of the toughest games on the schedule for me, but I think it's a win. Again, I don't even know right now what my explanation towards it is, because like I said, mobile quarterbacks give us issues. He's as mobile as they come. He's got a firearm. You give him a weapon like DeAndre Hopkins with the savvy vet on the other side and Larry Fitzgerald. Like, they're going to have an explosive offense. Their defense is underrated in my opinion. It's going to be better. But for whatever reason, like you said, Snap, you had them losing at home against Seattle. You have them losing on the road to Green Bay. You can't see them losing 3 in a row at this point. I have them losing to Green Bay and the Saints. I just can't see them losing 3 in a row at this point, especially with Dallas coming up next week on the road.
George?
Yeah, it's a tough game, definitely, especially on the road. But I don't know. I really think they're going to lose this one. Kyler Murray, I just think, is going to take a big step forward this year.
Same.
You got a great young-minded coach in Cliff Kingsbury. And, like, the Cards offense finished 7th in weighted DVOA last year, and they were dead last in 2018. Like, they're just progressing, and then you add Hopkins in the mix. That team's going to be good.
I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah, that team's going to be an exciting team. It's going to be a team that surprises a lot of people. But I have us losing this game. I just don't see a win, honestly.
I'm more on Dylan's side with this one. I'm kind of going back to the whole Lamar point that I was saying earlier. I get it. They have a great head coach. The offense seems like it's booming. DeAndre Hopkins is there. But as long as this team is healthy, that is my asterisk on this W. As long as this team's defense is healthy, they will put up a fit for Murray. He's smaller, a talented D-line that he's never seen in his young career. And it's going to be a lot for him to get over this. And I think this is the perfect type of defense to give him problems. You got to lock down number 1 in Slay to put on Hopkins. I get it. It's DeAndre Hopkins. He's great. But so is Slay. So if you can have Slay give issues to his number 1 target, I don't care if Larry Ledden's out there. I really don't give a shit. Like, if Murray can't run out of the pocket and do what he does because this D-line is on his ass, then I don't see them winning this game, whether it be on the road, whether it be at home. I just don't see them winning it. It's another young mobile quarterback kind of getting whooped up by a good D-line.
This, to me, has interior defensive line written all over it. This is why This is why you went out and signed Javon Hargrave to a huge deal, because especially smaller quarterbacks, smaller mobile quarterbacks like Kyler Murray, if you can get interior pressure right up the middle, right in his face, then he loses. Then his first option's gone. Now he's got to roll out. He's got to do something off script, where that could end up biting you in the ass. But if you can get to him, if you can create pressure, take away his first option with pressure up the middle, then this has a Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox game written all over it to me.
Yep, that's how I feel exactly about the game. It's just going to come down to that interior pressure, like you're saying. And again, asterisk if the defense is fully healthy. If one of those 2 guys is out at this point in the season, or if there's any bit of cornerback, like if any of the primary quarterbacks are hurt or secondary help, I think this game actually leans more toward a favorite in the Cardinals. But I think if the defense is Raven fully healthy, not a shot. I really don't. It's a scary team. They're going to be good, but I just don't think that this team's been the core guy. People got to remember the core guys on this team have been together so long, and this team has proven so much. The system is starting. Like if they make the playoffs again this year, that's 4 years in a row playoffs. I can't like. Can we name like? I think the Saints have done that in the last couple of years, and the Patriots, but you don't see that. Like and
well, the Eagles are one of the most even like going back to previous Doug Pete.
Oh, yeah, they're one of the most successful playoff teams of all time. But I'm talking in this era, Doug Peterson era. He's missed the playoffs once, and it was his first year with a rookie Carson Wentz.
Right.
If they go to the playoffs again, like there's a culture established here where even it's the next man up. We've seen it every year. So we'll see how the end of the season goes. It all comes down to health. Again, these schedules are based off just healthiness. I do throw a little like, oh, if they're healthy, if they're not. But if they're fully healthy, I think this is a win. Let's jump into the next week. Eagles at Dallas. Again, I think this is going to be a tough – we're going to split these all year.
Yeah. It's a loss to me only because I have them winning at home against Dallas the first time. And I think it's just more so I believe that they can sweep Dallas and go 6-0 in the division. I don't want to sound like that homer in May talking about how we're going to sweep Dallas because Dallas is a very talented team. So it's just one of those circumstances where I'm like, well, I gave them a win here earlier in the year. It's kind of just how I see it playing out. But if the Eagles are as good as we think they're going to be, Week 16, like – potentially playing for the division right now, if Dallas is as good as people think, then I think circumstances change it, and the Eagles could win this game if it's a big time game like that. But just if I give them the first one, I have to have them split with Dallas at the moment.
George.
Yeah. I mean, definitely depending on the circumstances,
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that because if you're tied at that point or something, everything changes. But yeah, I don't see them sweeping, so I have this one as an L2. I think both games are going to be shootouts, though. I think you're going to have a good-ass game both times, but I just don't see us sweeping. I think we take a home and home, we win at home, we lose at their house, and then that's it. We go 5-1 division. So this is
rivalries are going to start. This rivalry is going to start getting exciting with how high-powered on both sides of the ball both teams are. Yeah, and they brought in Mike McCarthy. There's no more Jason Garrett. Or that shadow over there.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't blame it on Garrett anymore. You can't blame it on Garrett fucking it up. And I can't wait to beat their ass and them not fucking have that as an excuse. But I'm going to jump into it. I think this is L. I just think we're going to split the series, and I think it's going to be home and home. But honestly, it could go away and away. It's Dallas Eagles. I feel like it's a split every year. And at this point in the season, if we're kind of like on the resting side, because at this point I have him at what do I have? 11-3.
Yeah.
So you might not even play a lot of starters. I think the division will be kind of clinched up. I don't think Dallas comes close to 11. I think they're going to be fighting for a wild card, and you might even give it to them in a sense, like where you're just like, all right, guys, like we might have clinched by then, or we're right there at clinching.
Okay.
So, or we know we have a good spot and maybe home field advantage. So I do see this as a loss. I think
circumstances. The circumstances is going to shape this game.
Exactly, and in the circumstances I have them at, I can see it easily being a loss. But let's get into the last week. Washington at Philadelphia. What do we all got?
Dub. You got a loss?
No, for Washington. I don't know. There you go. Better.
There you go.
I got the Eagles losing this one. No, come on. 11-5. I actually have 11-5 apparently. So mark it up.
I think we're all kind of around that. I mean, before we go, I kind of just want to get into
the shit.
Before we go, I kind of just want to talk about.
I am at 12-4. All right, so let's finish the show with this. What is your expectations for this team for the entire season? Now saying their record, what is a successful season for this team? Starting the same order as usual.
I think I'm so high on this team. I think they win the division, and I think they are – now, again, I'm not going to sit here in late May and say that the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not that fan. I'm more of a realist than anything. The last 2 years, I haven't gone out and been like, oh, the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. I think they are Super Bowl contenders this year, and there's the reasons I have for this are –
What record do you have them at?
I have them at 11-5.
Okay, as an 11-5 team, what do you expect from them?
Making a Super Bowl push.
All right.
Simply because for multiple reasons. One, they're going to be healthy. 3 years in a row, this is going to be number 4. It's hard to imagine a year where they're just decimated. It's not like injuries here and there, man. Even the Super Bowl year, you lost your MVP quarterback, your starting left tackle, Darren Sproles, all these guys. And then after this, you were decimated at the wide receiver position, decimated at corner, and in the secondary. You're getting healthy. You added speed through the draft, which is one of the main things they were lacking offensively. Everything they've done on the defensive side of the ball, like we talked about earlier with Darius Slay and Javon Hargrave and Nickel Roby-Coleman and Will Parks and Malik Jackson coming back. Brandon Graham looks like he's in incredible shape.
Yeah, he does.
I want to see progressions in some play. Miles Sanders is talking
MVP.
MVP league.
Season.
Sidney Jones, TJ Edwards, they're extremely high on, and he's probably going to be their Mike linebacker this year. He didn't have a missed tackle last year. If they're extremely high on him, I'm excited to see what he can do. And I am just, dude, as I love what they've done on defense, but I'm with 11, 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Like, he showed you what he is last year. Right? Like he took the 3 of us to the playoffs, won the division, and went 9-7. If he went 9-7 with all those injuries and that roster, you give him this defense, you give him a solidified number 1 in Miles Sanders and all this speed around him at wide receiver.
It screams Chiefs.
Yes, but with a better defense.
Yeah.
That's why I think they're Super Bowl contenders, and I think the kid's going – I honestly really think 11's
getting back. Championship or bust?
I think he's back to MVP form this year.
Is it championship or bust? I want to hear you say it.
No, because I can't say it's bust. Like, I'm not – no, I can't. Because
whatever, dude.
You can't call it a bust, but I have –
You got him at 11-5, don't you? Is it Super Bowl or bust at 11-5? If you're at 11-5 – I
have championship aspirations. But that does not mean I'm going to call
the team goes 11-5, like you say. Is it championship or bust? No. Would you just be happy with an NFC title?
Yes. I'm going to be devastated when they lose in the Super Bowl, obviously. But like, if they lose to Patrick Mahomes in a shootout, you can't call the season.
Okay, I can agree with that. All right, George, let's hear it. Final takes. Based off the record you got him at, what is your expectations going forward? And
as an 11-5 team, you've gotten healthier, you've gotten better, you drafted pretty well. Like, you got to be optimistic right now. You need Miles Sanders to prove again that he is the number 1 running back. You need Jalen Reagor to play like a first-round pick. You want to see some development out of Avon and all them. Like, just simple stuff that can get them to the top. It really is everything. I mean, an 11-5 team, I think Dallas goes like 9-7 maybe.
They're always going to be around that number. That's another thing. To me, they're the most – you won the division last year at 9-7 with a beat-up team. The first step is winning the division. I think that's a check mark. And then I think not only do you win the division, you're not just the last division winner. I don't think you're the 4 seed. I think you're a 2 or 3 seed because I think the Saints are just going to have a better record. Like, they're going to be like 13-3, so they're going to take –
3 seed this year.
I think you're going to be a 2 or 3 seed this year, honestly. And I want to see 11 in the playoffs with talent actually around them and with a real defense like you had in 2017. And right now, if healthy, that's what you have.
Yeah. All right, so George, what's expectations?
Then I just get into it.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to hear the word.
No, what are your postseason expectations?
You're gonna win the division. You're going to win the division. You need and then you need to get the NFC Championship. And I think at that point, the NFC is tough. You can't say like you need to get to the Super Bowl. The NFC is a hard conference. It's not like you have
very top heavy.
I think we can get to the NFC Championship. I don't think that's our ceiling. I think we have the chance to go to the Super Bowl. I would love it, but I'm not expecting like Super Bowl or bust, no doubt.
Yeah, no.
I'm straight up saying it. If the Eagles go as I predict, 12-4, they need to make the Super Bowl at 12-4. Because at 12-4, you're top 3 seed easily, if not top 2. You're probably gonna have home field advantage for most of the playoffs. And that's what we had when we went to the Super Bowl. And if I'm being honest, like if they lose in like an NFC Championship game, I'm gonna be pissed the fuck off. I really am, because
If
you've
they
made the
lose
playoffs every year. If everyone is healthy going into the playoffs, if Carson doesn't go down with a crazy postseason injury, and you're in that NFC Championship game, you need to go to the Super Bowl, especially with Carson. I'm so high on Carson, but one thing we still have not seen from Carson is playoff success at the next level. He has not won a playoff game. I need one out of him, and I think if you're 12-4,
I can't wait to see it.
fully healthy, you need to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I need some playoff wins. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, dude, I'm tired of fucking hearing about it. That Dak has a playoff win and Carson doesn't. It's like the only thing Carson doesn't have on Dak. I need him to go to, well, no one considers it because Nick Foles won it. But I need Carson to just finally go out there and be like, yo,
I'm
I'm a fucking top 5 quarterback, taking this team to the chip. You gave me all the weapons. I have the best possible D-line in football, maybe the best defense in football. We've been to the playoffs 3 straight years. We've won a Super Bowl. Nicky Foles finished it for me 3 years ago. I need to do it this year. You need to go out and earn that ring. So if they're at 12-4, it is championship or bust for me. And I'm being so serious. I'm not like does that mean I really expect them to do it right now? No, because I don't know what's gonna happen in the season. But if they stay fully healthy and they're at 12-4 right now, like I'm predicting them to be, I need you to go to the chip, and I need you to win the chip. Because if you go to the chip and you lose, it's a bust season for me. I don't care, because we've seen it so many times. Like I said earlier about the Niners, teams that lose in the Super Bowl don't do good the next year. If you lose in the Super Bowl this season and then you don't make the playoffs next year, I'm worried.
Yeah, like you've seen that Wentz can carry a team. You saw it last year. This man threw 4,000 yards to nobodies. This year you have weapons. You have all around them. It's going to be a great year. I really feel it. Whoever said MVP year like coming on, I agree.
Because here's my thing, just to wrap up, like you have a defense that's, if not dominating, is going to keep you in every game you play, especially with this difficult schedule against all the great quarterbacks that we play this year. If they're not at least dominating, they're going to keep you in every game. So that gives Wentz the chance to either win games or have this offense just be what it was in 2017 and be explosive. Because set aside the speed that they brought in with the draft picks in Reagor and Hightower and the trade in Marquise Goodwin. You saw what he did with Deshaun Jackson in just 1 week.
And you basically added Deshaun Jackson clones all throughout the
250-plus yard touchdowns. And I'm sorry. You guys may feel differently. If he's still on the team, which it looks like he's going to be right now, and he's not going to be healthy to start, but if you get a healthy Alshon Jeffrey to come
I'm in on Alshon now.
Yeah.
I have to be. He's here.
It's another weapon. It's another weapon.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. I look at it a less workload for him and possibly time to get healthy. So I'm all in on him.
Alshon Jeffrey
don't mean shit now.
You have Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, Jalen Reagor, Marquise Goodwin, the 2 tight ends you have in Ertz and Goddard, Miles Sanders, Boston Scott. There's speed all over with one of the best offensive lines in football.
Yeah.
2 things I think that are very important, though, and I will say this right now, if they do not remain healthy, this season is botched, and it's not the quarterback. If you do not keep a fully healthy defense, especially your D-line, or Miles Sanders goes down for a period of time, I think this team is going to regress immensely. Because I think you did not bolster your run game the way I thought.
No, but they are being linked to Devontae Freeman and LaShawn McCoy.
Okay, that's old-ass Devontae Freeman and LaShawn McCoy. Miles Sanders could arguably – the way Miles Sanders was projecting near the end of the season and the way he's been working and the way everyone's been talking about him,
100%.
I'm expecting a top 5 fucking running back. I really am. And if you're losing that weapon and you lost to Jordan Howard, who you probably could have kept, I think this offense is going to suffer tremendously. I really do. Because whether you guys like to admit it or not, that little playoff run we had at the end of the season, Miles Sanders was a very, very big part of that. So you need him healthy the majority of the season.
I think Boston Scott has earned a role in this team, even though it's a small portion.
Yeah, but I understand that, but he's not.
No. I know.
Levels to this shit.
I know. He's a great change of pace back, though. And another receiver that we're not talking about, Greg Ward, he's definitely earned a spot. So where does he fit?
It depends on how these other wide receivers from the draft class pan out. He might be
We'll
on.
put it this way. We're going to find out because
Alshon's making the team. Rager's making the team.
Sean
Sean Jackson's making the team.
Goodwin,
Hightower?
Goodwin's making the team.
Arthega's making the team.
Artega's
JJ Arcega-Whiteside's making the team. So that's 5 wide receivers as is right now. And
I think
if he doesn't outperform
Hightower
the draft guys, he's gonna be practice squad, man.
I think John Hightower definitely makes
I think he does too.
Put it
I
this
do
way.
too. I'm very high on Hightower.
You were talking about competition you were talking about in the competition, the wide receiving room after the draft recap snap. We're going to see it because Wolf just allowed PA teams and Philly teams starting next Friday to get back. So the Birds, we may not be getting film out of the mini camps.
It's all
but
good.
At least they're going to be together and getting ready for the season. And that's all I care about.
Yeah.
Awesome. So state your records one more time. I'm going 12-4.
11-5.
11-5.
There you go, people. We hope they we hope they do better. We hope it's 16-0 and they walk right to the Super Bowl. But these are our predictions. Make sure you guys tune in next week and make sure you guys follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or everywhere we are at. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and like. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Make sure you're here next Thursday. All right, guys. I'll see you next week.
Have a nice night.